Thank you. And joining me now is former independent senator from Connecticut, Joe Lieberman. Mr. Lieberman is now the co-chair of No Labels and chairman of United Against Nuclear Iran. Senator, thank you so much for being here.
Great to be with you, Katie.
What do you think the president should do in this scenario?
Well, first, I want to express my gratitude that the president has expressed the outrage he has at the use of chemical weapons by Assad. The world is so full of turmoil that there's a way in which we can grow numb and accept the unacceptable, and using chemical weapons against your own people is unacceptable. Now he's got to act. And
what does that actually need to look like?
I think it's got to be military, and it's got to hurt the Assad regime. He could strike at Syrian airplanes on the ground. He could hit militarily significant buildings. He's got a lot of targets and the capability in the U.S. military to do that, and it is first to punish Assad for this unacceptable use of chemical weapons. But now it is also to make clear that the United States under President Trump will not be bullied by the Russians or the Iranians to hold back. That would be the worst message to come out of this. So I think he will not.
Senator Mike Lee of Utah.
Yes.
That before any action is taken, any force is taken, he wants Congress to vote on it. Do you think Congress needs to vote on this? No.
I think this is well within the president's authority as commander-in-chief under the Constitution to take action. I mean, to go into a congressional debate, oh my God, imagine the days and months it would take. And in the meantime, we look at these videos, these tapes, of these poor Syrian innocents suffering from a chemical weapon attack.
There are folks out there that are making a link between Assad's actions and the president's words. The Washington Post says a year ago, President Trump's new administration announced that removing Assad from power was no longer a priority of the U.S. government. Soon afterward, the man known as the Butcher of Damascus launched a sarin attack that killed more than 80 Syrians. Trump responded to that. He also brought up Syria again last week. He said, "We'll be coming out of Syria like very soon. Let the other people take care of it now. I want to get out," Trump added last Tuesday at the White House during a news conference with Baltic leaders. Do you think that there is a link between the President of the United States pulling back, not focusing on Syria, not mentioning it as a priority, and Assad being emboldened?
Well, the truth is we don't know. I mean, Assad has been brutal and a butcher since 2011, of course before, but 2011 when his people began to rise up and ask for freedom, opportunity, etc., he killed them. He killed them with weapons, and not chemical weapons, but he killed them. But there is that danger, and when presidents speak, there are consequences. So when President Trump said at the rally last week that we had stopped ISIS and we'd be out of Syria soon, I think it was a mistake. But now he's in a way corrected that in reaction to this use of chemical weapons by Assad. And I don't think we're coming out of there anytime soon, and we shouldn't come out of there anytime soon. In Afghanistan and Iraq, the President Trump has made clear our exit will be based on conditions on the ground, not time, not deadlines, and we ought to do the same.
You sound much more diplomatic than your good friend John McCain, your former running mate, John McCain. He's placing the blame pretty squarely on the president. He says President Trump last week signaled to the world that the U.S. would prematurely withdraw from Syria. Bashar Assad and his Russian and Iranian backers have heard him, and emboldened by American inaction, Assad has reportedly launched another chemical attack against innocent men and children, women and children, this time in Douma. McCain has been very critical of this president. He hasn't been that tough on Russia, let's be honest. He said he's tough on Russia. The administration has enacted sanctions, but the president himself has not come out and forcefully said this will not stand. This support of the Assad regime and doing this to its citizens by President Putin is not okay. And we're not only going to strike back at Syria, but we're going to strike back at Russia with sanctions or something else in order to get them to realize it.
Well, that's really a big step. I think the important thing in response to the reaction of the Russian government to this chemical weapon attack is basically to challenge President Trump as to whether he's going to be pushed back by a threat from the bullies in Moscow or whether he's going to go ahead and punish Assad as he said he would do. I'm encouraged by, and incidentally, I think the president, going back to the campaign, has not been tough enough on Putin as he should have been. But in recent weeks, he's really called out Putin for his, including saying that Putin, Russia, and Iran.
That was in a tweet, though. Does he need to do something more than just tweet about it?
Well, in fairness, he has sanctioned Russia for other misbehavior of theirs in recent weeks. But I think the most significant message to Russia, which rushed in when President Obama moved back from Syria and now occupy a pivotal role there, is for the president to make clear that threats from Russia are not going to stop the United States from acting against Assad, who the president has called an animal. And I think in this case, he's right.
I want to just get one question on no labels.
Okay.
Co-chair, no labels. The goal is to put country before party. How do we get back to a time where we're putting country before party?
Well, first off, it's just to demand for everybody to demand of their member of the House or Senate in Washington, put country and constituents ahead of party and ideology. Second, no labels. Tries to bring together Republicans and Democrats. We've got in the House and the Senate, we've got two bipartisan groups working in both chambers now. Third, we're getting involved in politics. We've created some PACs and we're supporting moderate candidates, problem solvers in both parties' primaries against people who we think are too partisan and too ideological. The country has stopped functioning, and that's why a lot of Americans, including me, are angry, disappointed, and frustrated, and our problems are not being solved. We can do a lot better, and hopefully we will.
I hear that wherever I go. Do better, get along.
Amen.
Former Senator Joe Lieberman, I misspoke a moment ago. You were John Gore's running mate.
Al Gore.
I mean, John Gore, Al Gore.
It's all right. There's a
it wasn't a long enough weekend, let's put it that way.
Thanks, Katie.
Thank you very much for being here. We appreciate it, sir.
Pleasure.
And this time tomorrow, Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg will be